Let's be honest. You didn't need another video that tells you that this hurts. Like, you've already been living it. You've been living in this hell. You've been living in this pain, waking up to it, falling asleep with it, trying to make sense of how someone could damage you so deeply and still make you feel like you're the issue and you're the problem. The loop you've been in is exhausting, and I don't say that as a distant analyst or some neutral observer. I say that as someone who's been the one that's done the damage. I've watched it happen in real time, knowing full well I was breaking something sacred and doing it anyway. Not just because the abuse itself, it wrecks you like it does. It's the silence after all of that. It's the aftermath. The space where the chaos is over, but your nervous system hasn't gotten the memo of like, hey, you're safe. Like, your body still clenches when you get the phone where it texts or it dings. Like, your brain still replays the same arguments, try to figure out what did you do wrong, how could you have done it better. Like, you're free technically, but nothing inside you feels free. Like, the peace that you have doesn't feel peaceful at all. This is where most people give up, not because they're weak, but just because they're exhausted, they're tired. Because no one told them that leaving was just the beginning. They thought that was going to be the end. That's the start, though. The real work, the actual healing, starts when the noise dies down and you're left alone with the wreckage of your identity. Like the pieces of your self-trust that scattered across memories that you can't seem to make sense of anymore. It's the one thing to walk away from the narcissist. Like, that's a step. It's another thing to walk back to you. And if you're here watching this, I'm guessing you've already walked, or you've at least tried multiple times. Maybe you've read the books. Maybe you've tried to figure out the different things. You've listened to different podcasts. You've talked to therapists who maybe didn't really get it or didn't understand. Maybe you've nodded along to a video like this one and felt a flicker of hope and then crashed back into the numbness and confusion just an hour later. Because information does not equal transformation. Awareness doesn't mean that you have clarity. And the piece that no one really talks about inside of all of this is you don't need more facts about narcissism. You just need a path, a structure. Something that takes all of this swirling, unnameable emotion and helps you channel it into real, tangible healing, helping you move forward. And that's what all of this has been building towards. The pain that you had, it wasn't imagined. The confusion wasn't your fault. The loop that you've been stuck in and going through over and over, it was designed to keep you there, to keep you powerless, to keep you weak. And it worked until now. You've made it through the first 3 videos. You've named the abuse. You've seen what healing could look like in your world. You've begun to feel the edges of ownership start to form inside of your world. Now comes the part that most women never get to. Not because they're not capable, because no one ever showed them how. How to step out of the theory mode and move into activation. How to go from I get it to I live it. The important moments where everything starts to shift. And ironically, it's also the point where people start to sabotage themselves. Not because they don't want to heal, but because healing requires one thing most survivors haven't had in years, and that's simply self-trust. The inner quiet voice that says, it's time. Yes, you're ready. Even if you're scared at this point. Even if there's a part of you whispering, what if it doesn't work? Let me tell you something that I've seen over and over again working with thousands of different women. The fear isn't a red flag. It's a sign you're standing on the edge of change. The change that doesn't feel safe when you spent years being punished for having needs, emotions, and feelings. When every time you've reached for something better, someone shamed you and put you down. Like when every small step that you had towards wholeness was met with guilt, manipulation, silence. So now even when the path is right in front of you, your brain says, stay where it's familiar, even if it's painful. At least you know how to survive that pain. But that's the trap. That's what keeps women locked in the mental fog long after he's gone. It's not abuse anymore. It's the story you were programmed to believe about yourself. It's the subconscious programming that you're too much, that you're too broken, that you're too late, that you're too dependent, that you can't heal, that no one's going to understand you. You have all these things flooding your mind. That healing is for other women, not women like you. But those are all his words, his programming, not yours. It's his projections, his training, his conditioning, his design on your world to keep you stuck, and you've been carrying them like gospel inside of your heart. It's time to set it down. Because the truth is, you were never broken inside of all this. You were reprogrammed. And now finally you're in a space where that program can be rewritten. You can be rewired. And it doesn't happen on accident. It doesn't happen through osmosis. It'd be great if it could. But it happens through commitment and consistency. Through structured support, through you moving through a system designed for women like you, emotionally intelligent, self-aware, ready for the real work. The kind of work that doesn't just help you leave the relationship, but helps you leave the version of you that was created by that relationship. And that's what the next step is about. And I'll walk you through exactly what that looks like, what's inside, who it's for, why it actually works, and how you'll know if you're actually ready. Because this isn't for everyone. The goal inside of this, like you've made it this far, you've walked through this video long enough, you already know this is for you. You just need the final piece of clarity to help it all fit together. Let's talk about what healing actually looks like. Not the Instagram version, not the perfect morning routine of crystals and the cream juice, like not the aesthetic, but like the actual uncomfortable, liberating, sometimes soul-crushing process of rebuilding a life after psychological abuse. It starts first with clarity. Not just clarity about him, but about you. Most women who come to this space already know what he was and that they've already been in abuse. They've Googled the terms, they've watched the videos, they've checked all the boxes. They know, okay, this is what he probably is or what he is. But what they haven't done is reclaim the parts of themselves that got buried underneath all of it. This is where the work begins, with real structured system that breaks down recovery into clear, doable pieces, and pieces that you can actually hold on to. In this process, we walk through 4 core phases. Not a gimmick, not a gimmicky acronym, just real order and way the healing unfolds when it's finally done right. We start by helping you stabilize your nervous system because you can't think your way out of trauma if your body still thinks you're in danger. We have to work on releasing the triggers, working through this so it no longer affects you. Pull you out of the constant tired but wired state back into a place where you start to regulate your fear response and start to work through this. Where your body finally begins to believe, I'm safe now, I'm okay. You may cry at this point. A lot of women do. Not because they're sad, but because their system hasn't known peace in years and it feels weird. When peace starts to settle in, it feels foreign, it feels weird. Sometimes even terrifying, and that's actually normal. That's why this work is supported, because you won't be doing it alone. After that, we move into identity repair. That means we go back not to relive, but to retrieve. We start to untangle false identities you took in order to survive. The people-pleasing that you came out with, the silence, the shrinking, the survival tactics, the coping pieces you had. We start to look at all those beliefs that were installed through trauma. That you were too much, that you were not enough, that you were unlovable, that you were dangerous, that you were toxic, that you were narcissistic, that you attract chaos. We start rewiring those beliefs. Not with fluffy affirmations, but with real evidence of your life. You don't need to ask for permission. You don't need to pretend. We just want you to remember. For most women, this is where the tears turn into fire. Where they start getting angry. They start getting pissed. Not in a destructive way, but in a liberating way. The kind of anger that says, I was never the problem. And from there, we can start building healthy boundaries. Not just how to say no, but how to stop explaining yourself and stop asking permission, and how to stop leaking energy into people who are never safe to begin with. It's not about building walls and boxing yourself in. It's learning how to protect what's sacred, learning how these boundaries apply for you, learning how to stand without guilt, learning how to say, this is mine, and I choose who gets to access it. And then firmly action. Aligned action, not busy work, not a coping mechanism, not a distraction, but actual embodied choices to help you move forward. And choices like calling the lawyer, booking the solo trip, having a conversation you've been avoiding, waking up one day and realizing you no longer feel afraid, dealing with the trigger that continues to isolate you, dealing with the trigger that continues to traumatize you, dealing with the trigger that continues to hold you back. That's what all this work does. It builds you up in a way that lasts long term, because it doesn't rely on the narcissist changing. It doesn't require outside validation. It doesn't hinge on you finding the perfect closure. It only asks one thing from you: a willingness to choose yourself. And for a lot of women, that's the hardest part, because choosing yourself feels like betrayal when you've been conditioned to disappear. When your entire value is wrapped in how well you could anticipate his needs. When your survival strategy was stay small to stay safe. But that strategy isn't saving you anymore. It's actually suffocating you. And you know that. That's why you're here. That's why you've been watching this. That's why you've been going through this piece. And that's why we built the path. So you don't have to piece it together for yourself. So you don't have to sort through YouTube videos at 2 a.m. wondering which voice to trust. So you don't have to guess what's the next step. How do I walk through it? But because we've already walked hundreds of women through it. We've already tested it. We've already refined it for women who are ready. Not just to understand what happened to them, but to actually heal from it. And healing doesn't mean we're going back to who you were before him. It means becoming the version of you that was never allowed to exist safely. The one who doesn't second guess her gut. The one who doesn't chase clarity from the person who caused the confusion in your world. The one who doesn't beg to be seen inside of your world because she sees herself. That's what it's about. Not about fixing you because you've never been broken, but reintroducing you to you. And that's what happens. Where everything starts to change, where your relationships start to shift, where your nervous system starts to soften, where you start to be able to heal and move forward because your decisions get sharper. You stand in clarity and confidence. You start to feel safe in your own skin. That's what we want from you. Not just giving you insight, but integration. Not just giving you more knowledge and having you consume more, but embodiment. That's what this series has been pointing towards from the very start. And now you're standing right on the edge of a threshold. Not everyone even gets here. Not everyone even watches the videos to be here, and you did. That's the only thing left right now is to decide what you want to do with that. Because we walked through a lot of this already together, and you've probably been feeling that and you've been seeing that. Not just in your head, but also in your heart, in your stomach, in your gut, in your skin. Understanding that all the places that trauma lived inside of your world, all the places you've been holding it without even realizing that it's been affecting you. That's what this series was built for. To walk you through what no one else explained. To put words to things that you always felt were invisible. To show you that what you're feeling, what you've been going through, what you're feeling now, it's not weakness. It's the very predictable impact of intentional kind of abuse on your world. You've been conditioned. You've been had your life rewritten, not just to doubt him, but to doubt you. And now you're starting to actually wake up and see it. You're starting to recognize there's patterns inside of your world. You're starting to understand why things felt so foggy, so contradictory, so exhausting. You're not crazy. You're trauma wired. And even just hearing that can start to shift the whole thing inside of this because now the enemy has a name. Now the damage actually has a shape that you can see and that you can look at. And that means it can be undone. You've already experienced that inside of these videos. You felt what it's like to have someone speak your language, understand you, to name things that you thought were just your private struggles or things that you thought you were dealing with, to describe your pain without flinching. And you realize that something most people never even get to realize. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be restored. And that's the work that we do inside of Breakthrough. It's not just a course. It's not a workshop. It's a container. A held space, a structured step-by-step process with actual accountability. You have weekly touch points, real tools, mapped out exercises. You know exactly what to do in what order. But more than all of that, you'll be witnessed for a woman who's been invisible for far too long. And that changes everything. It changes how you speak. It changes how you breathe. It changes what you tolerate, what you do, and what you don't allow. Breakthrough is built for you if you're done gathering more information but still feel stuck in the same loops. If you're sick of questioning your reality even after the narcissist has even gone out of your world. If you're ready to finally actually start healing the parts of you that never got to grow. This is not for everyone. It's not for someone who's just curious. It's for the woman who already knows something has to change and just needs the right path to walk. Because the truth inside of this is inside alone isn't enough. You've already tried that. You've read the books. You've listened to the podcast. You've been late night crying, wondering, why do I still feel like this? What's still wrong with me? It's not because you failed. It's because no one gave you the full map. They told you to heal. They told you to move on, but they didn't show you the step-by-step how. Breakthrough does. This isn't about waiting until you're ready because ready doesn't show up. It won't arrive. Not when you've been trained to doubt every decision and question every motive. You won't feel ready. You'll just feel terrified. You'll feel selfish. You'll feel guilty for spending the time, the energy, the money, the investment into you. You'll wonder if you're just being dramatic. If you're just overreacting, that maybe it really wasn't that bad. You should be fine. It should disappear. But that's the trauma that's talking. And you already know what happens if you keep listening to it because you've lived this over and over. You shrink, you settle, you disappear. You just survive another day instead of finally living it. So this is your moment to learn how to say yes to you. Not the performative you, not the perfectly healed version of you, not the one that has it all together, but just you, as you are right now, exhausted, drained, tired, hurting, but still breathing, still here, and still willing to try. If that's you, then here's what to do. You can either drop the word breakthrough in the comments and I'll personally send you the link, or you can go directly to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. And inside you'll find the full program details, how it works, who's it for, and how to apply. You'll also see real stories on the page from women who've done the work, who've already shown up. Women who thought they were beyond repair until they remembered who they were. If that's what you're craving, like if you want more than just surviving and being stuck in survival mode, then this is your invitation. You've already proven that you're ready. You're still here. You've still shown up. You're still listening. You're still searching. And that means one thing inside of my world. You haven't given up on yourself. So let's take that next step together to walk you through this. Healing isn't just a someday down the road thing. It's this day thing. And today could be the day that changes everything. I'll see you on the inside. You've been told it's all your fault and that makes you feel crazy. No one understands you and that leaves you in a place of being alone. You've tried to break free multiple times and that leaves you helpless because nothing you've done has actually worked. It hasn't actually got you free or liberated from this toxic relationship. So you feel crazy, alone, and hopeless. Guess what? That's a lie. Because all it is how you've been raised and conditioned inside of this abusive relationship over and over. And as a result, you've sacrificed your growth, you've sacrificed your worth, and you've been trapped inside of a toxic relationship. What if I showed you the path to freedom? A way for you to actually get free mentally and emotionally from the toxicity that's happening right here, right now. You deserve more. You deserve to be able to heal. And I want to help you with that. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Schedule a call there and let's talk.